In today's episode, we're going to be going through 5 different rappers: Kanye West, Travis Scott, Tyler the Creator, Baby Keem, and J.I.D. And we're going to have to give them an overall rating based on lyricism, flow, production, versatility, and discography. So let's jump right into this, bro. Let's start off with Kanye West, one of the most influential artists within the rap genre. Let's start off with your card, bro. You had him at a 90 overall. That's interesting.
And you had him at an 89 overall. That's fucking interesting. Pretty much on par. I mean, lyricism, we gave the exact same rating for, bro. 78.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I don't find Kanye's the best lyricist, but I do think that he has well-written songs. Example, something like 2 Words or something like Roses, Everything I Am. He does have his moments within his catalog where his writing is phenomenal, but overall, he does have his duds.
Yeah, and honestly, he's not that type of guy to go into the studio and start fucking freestyling. And even when you compare him to other Chicago lyricists like a Lupe Fiasco or a Common, he's not really that monstrous lyricist. Yes, he has powerful messages within his songs. He has great verses like stuff off of Everything I Am or maybe No More Parties in LA, etc. But you go to a song like Hurricane and he has like 25 writers. So that in itself, how much help he gets for the writing, because lyricism comes down to the lyrics,
yes, that's
which
very
comes
true.
down to the writing. Gets a lot of help.
But regardless, at surface value, I do think 78 is a fair rating for it. Let's go on to discography and production for Kanye. I had 2 97s. You had 98 and 95, so we're still in the same ballpark.
The Scog, you had 97. I had 95.
Yeah, because in my head, I'm like, it's not a perfect discography, but
no one has a better discography.
Exactly.
Right?
So I have to put it on that sort of high stature. So I think that's well decided. But when it gets onto the production, though, you have him at a 98. I had him at the 97.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking high. And I mean, just when you look at what Kanye did for hip-hop production with the Chipmunk Soul all the way to him using a fucking Roland TR 808 drum machine on every song off of 808s and how that brought it back to the mainstream and changed the landscape of hip-hop. Like, he's always been that guy to be a trailblazer with his actual production styles and abilities. So yeah, one of the best, probably a top 5 hip-hop producer of all time. What he's done for Pusha T,
exactly.
Jay-Z, every other fucking amazing rapper he's produced for.
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, but what I think is cool about Kanye West is that when he drops an album, you can almost guarantee that it's going to be the best produced album of that year. And I think if you go back to previous years, the production is always a notch above everything else. You want to talk about Graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, the very hectic and sporadic production on The Life of Pablo. I think it is merited, but let's talk about the versatility. You have it at what again? What did you have it at?
I had his versatility at 90. You had it at 87.
Okay, so this is what I based it upon. I feel like as of late, he's having a bit of problem with his sound where like it's sounding a bit stagnant. It's not really going anywhere. But what's cool about Kanye is that his sound is in constant evolution, and I find that added to the versatility factor for me. Even when you're looking at his iconic eras, either if it's the College Dropout up to, let's say, Graduation, or let's say even the MBDTF era, everything sounds different, and there's always a new vision behind all of
that's
his projects.
Why you have to rate it high. I mean, at the very least, you could say, okay, maybe he gets docked a few points just because when he actually tries to be versatile as an artist in terms of going into the singing bag, that's where you might start to see some cracks within the window. But I think we're pretty much on the same page for Kanye. I think it's fair to say we can move on. And the next rapper that we have is going to have to be Travis Scott. And this is interesting because I gave him a 79 overall and you gave him an 85.
Yeah, bro, you gave him a 79 overall.
Wow, bro, that's
crazy. That's ridiculous. How could you give Travis Scott a 79? He's one of the most talented rappers in the game right now.
I think that 79 fits the bill for him. I mean, he's one of the most entertaining performers, and I also think that when it comes to putting together bodies of work, he's one of the best right now. But when it comes to like an overall like skill set for a rapper, he's great, but he's not one of the greatest.
Okay, listen, the lyricism at 67 is a bit harsh, bro.
It's
sorry.
It's not harsh at all,
absolutely.
bro. What do you mean,
He
bro?
has his song concepts, and stop trying to be
In all
gone.
seriousness, if you're listening to Travis Scott and you're telling me you're listening to him for the lyrics, you're playing yourself.
Bro, we've already broken down Travis Scott lyrics on our TikTok with 90210.
Listen,
you have Maria, I'm Drunk, bro. You have those situations where he's rapping well.
Travis is not a good lyricist, bro. I'm sorry.
Okay, listen, he's not a great lyricist. Bro, okay, listen, let me make my point here. 67 is way too low for him.
It's not.
It's way too fucking low for him. I have him at a 72. I don't have him that high.
5 points more, bro.
He has
Chill.
name me a poorly written Travis Scott song.
It's not a case of poorly written songs. When it comes to my argument for this, it's the basic fact that even when you go to, let's say, the more philosophical Travis songs, like something like a Stop Trying to Be God, yes, it has a really cool message, but the lyrics are basic and simple. Even though you have that message
But
within
that doesn't always
even,
equal to bad lyricism.
even to something like a Coffee Bean. I love seeing him get that personal and get him in a vulnerable state where he's airing out his personal conflicts, but he's rapping with super basic lyrics. He's not welcome to the Kardashian clan. I get it. It's more subject matter that we don't usually get from him, but as an actual writer, I listen to Travis Scott because he gives me great mood music. He gives me, vibes, but I'm never really paying attention to the lyrics because there's not all that much there.
Oh, that's completely false.
Bro, yes,
How
I'll
many
give
times
you the 90210. I'll give you the Pray for Love. I'll give you
He has those duds, but
he has a couple.
But realistically, he still doesn't make bad lyrics, bro. And yes, there may be surface level, but to say that it's a 67.
When you think of lyricists,
listen,
bro, you don't think of Travis Scott, bro.
Anyways, I don't even think that's the most criminal part about your fucking card right now. Having his flow at an 80 is kind of weird, bro.
Why?
I'm not gonna, bro. His melodies are perfect on every single
but
song,
melody
bro.
and flow is different, bro.
Bro, it's very what are you talking about? It's different. It's extremely similar, bro. It's in the way that you're delivering your lyrics down, bro. Absolutely.
That's delivery, melodies.
Okay,
and
so
flow
then what
are
is the
all
difference
separate.
between example? What is the difference between flow?
Flow
and melodies here.
Flow is about rhythmic timing. Melody is like
rhythmic timing, literally creating melodies and
no.
rhythmic
It's about
timing.
it's about how catchy you can fucking put the words together and make them ring off. It's
Rhythmic
about
timing.
Singing comes into melody, bro.
Bro.
How you can stretch out your vocals. Flows are very different than melody. And at the end of the day,
that's
I
bad.
still gave him an 80, bro. Like I love his flows, but you can't tell me he never recycles any of his flows, bro.
Of course, he recycles his flows,
that's what
but
I'm
you know how
saying.
many
That's why
rappers
I'm not gonna give
recycle
him a
their
fucking 90
but,
for it.
I didn't give him a 90. I gave him an 87. When you have to talk about a guy that comes onto a production and that glides through everything he lays down, there has never been a verse where Travis Scott is offbeat or his rhythmic timing is off. The consistency within his flows from album to album are always flawless.
What'd you give him for that? Let's see this.
I gave him 87 on his
Oh
flow.
my
bro.
goodness. Wow,
His
that's
flow,
so
87.
high,
Are you
bro.
for real, bro? It's incredible.
That's way too high.
His flow is one of the best in the game right now.
I disagree with that.
Bro, absolutely.
Entirely.
There wouldn't be millions of people singing his songs.
Let's talk
if
about
it
the
wasn't
versatility
for that,
because we have 10 marks off of each other. And listen, I do think that when you're looking at just beat selection, Travis is super versatile because he'll give you something that sounds more rock or industrial, like a Piss on Your Grave, and then he'll give you something that's trippier, that has amazing synth keys and beautiful strings like a Skeleton's. But overall, I feel like he loses a bit of points for me when it comes to the versatility because you kind of know what Travis is going to sound like on a track. It's like one of two ways. Either you're getting that more hazy and dark Travis where he's kind of just gliding and being free with the track and kind of becoming one with the actual instrumental, or you're getting the other Travis that's more hyper and him bringing out that rager aesthetic. I feel like from a performance standpoint,
I disagree with
you kind of know you're getting one of two lanes from Travis.
I disagree with you on that. Which Travis album have you gone into where you were able to predict the sound?
Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. He's kind of all
bro,
towards that dark, melancholic type of sound.
So when you were 16 years old, 17 years old, you sat in your room and you were going to be like, yeah, there's going to be a Through the Late Night on this one. There's going to be a Beebs of the Trap on this one, and I'm going to call the whole album. I think
I never said I was a fucking medium, bro.
But that's what
Chill out.
But you said,
I'm saying when I'm listening to that whole...
Let me finish my point. What you said was you could call his sound before he even gets into the track, and I completely disagree with you.
When a new Travis Scott song ends up coming out, I can kind of tell what he's going to sound like in terms of inflections, in terms of the way that he rides out a beat, in terms of how quickly he rides out a tempo. I kind of always know where he's at, so that's why for versatility, I salute him for the production versatility, but as a performer, not the most versatile guy in my opinion. We definitely don't see eye to eye on that one, but let's keep the train rolling. Next up, we have Tyler, the Creator. I gave him an overall rating of 85, and you gave him an 86. So let's look at the lyricism, where I gave him a 76, and you gave him an 82. So why'd you give him the 82 on there? Like why that high?
I feel like it is above average, and I do feel like Tyler has extremely well written music. Example, like going back to Flower Boy, he's really well. What he does really well is he's able to construct these beautiful concept albums that flow really nicely. And also, what's cool about Tyler is that if you go through the entirety of his catalog, what he has over other rappers is that everything interconnects into one big story. And that's what I like about Tyler's writing, is that you could always minimize it down to one song, chunk, or you can, kind of make it more like one album sort of feel or a whole discography feel. There's so much connective tissue from album to album, and I think that merited points for me. Plus, when you got to look at, let's say, certain writing techniques that he was using on Wolf at like Camp Flog and, the story setting, I feel like he does a really good job at that as well.
Yeah.
Plus, if you get more into like the modern work on Call Me If You Get Lost, going into something like, let's say, I'm not sure, Massa or Corso, you have those writing performances where like, whoa, this is really good stuff.
I mean, yes and no. When you're talking about something like Wolf, I feel like he built out the narrative super well, but like when actually looking at his lyrics, I feel like Tyler does excel. Like he is a strong lyricist, but I feel like he thrives more in terms of his delivery and his flow and the more technical aspects of the rapping. And a large majority of Tyler's writing is often braggadocious, if you want to take something like a Lumberjack, or maybe even love-centric, where he's not required to put too much into the lyrics, with something like a See You Again or an Earthquake. Or you have Tyler, where he's kind of going into his horrorcore mode, where he wants to kind of destroy whatever's in front of him on something like a Pilot. But for me, I feel like I docked him some points just because, he's admitted himself that like lyrics aren't even a priority for him. Like the beats and the melodies are 1 and 2, and lyrics come in at number 3. And like, even when I'm going into those songs that like have those quotable Tyler moments, something like I Ain't Got Time, the wordplay is cool, it's slick, but the writing isn't that phenomenal.
Yeah,
you have like one line there where he's like, I've been kissing white boys since '04, and people grab that one line and say, oh, the writing here was brilliant, but really it's like oftentimes just a few quotables that really get you and not an entire verse.
I disagree with that. I think that, yes, maybe the vocabulary choices aren't always the most, let's say, I would say out of the box, or let's say, the most unique, but he does have his place when it comes down to storytelling, when it comes down to also making catchy songs as well.
Even the storytelling cuts, right? Something like a Wilshire, something like a Colossus. I'm never blown away by the lyricism within them. I like the way he tells the story. I think it's great.
But that's huge for writing for me. Like, the thing is that like I don't always narrow it down to only vocabulary choice.
I never said it's only vocabulary,
but that's been your main nitpick.
That's
with Tyler
not
this
been
whole time,
that's not been my nitpick at all, bro. My nitpick has been just how clever you could be. Are you having double entendres? Are you having that slick wordplay?
There's so many different styles of writing, though. Is that like
I know, but
you will get that. But like
I'm basing it off of more like how simplistic is it maybe, and like how in depth and how dense is it, and how creative is the writing as well, which I think Tyler's a creative writer. I just don't think he's one of the best writers in the game.
Let's talk about the discography and the production, because that's something that we seem to be in the same ballpark for. Excuse me. You have production at an 89, versatility at an 88, and then I have his discography at an 85, production at a 90. I do feel like Tyler is one of the best curators when it comes to hip-hop soundscapes, or even at that like neo-soul soundscape, something that you might see on Igor. When it comes to his discography, the reason why I gave it an 85 is that, yes, I do really value that 3-album run. I think that it puts it in a really high place for me. It's just that Bastard, Goblin, those are projects where they're good listens, but there's not as much value at the lower end of that catalog, and I think it's really in the artistic evolution that Tyler strives. So that's why I had it a bit lower on the cards.
But it's interesting with Tyler's catalog. That's why I gave it such a high rating as well of the 86, is because I feel like all of those projects before were kind of these stepping stones to get Tyler to make the albums we wanted him to make. Like, if it wasn't for a Cherry Bomb, which I'm not a huge fan of, you would have never gotten Flower Boy. You never would have gotten Tyler really tapping into those neo-soul type of aesthetics. And, we started seeing that maturity around that Wolf timeline, I would say. In terms of production, I had to give him a high rating just because he produces, composes, and arranges pretty much all of his tracks.
It's like a Kanye sort of stat where he's like really involved in every single soundscape that he puts together. But all right, listen, I think you did a good job with the Tyler one, and it's also both of our most well-rounded cards so far. But let's go on to Baby Keem. So
you gave him an 80 overall. I gave him a 78 overall, which is interesting.
Very interesting. Lyricism was 68 for me. Where did you get him at?
I had him at a 70 for lyricism.
Better than Travis Scott?
I think Baby Keem is a better... Bro, go back and listen to songs like a Savior interlude, bro. Go back and listen to something like a Scapegoats. I mean, in my opinion, for how deep Keem is getting...
30 seconds runtime on Scapegoats.
Like, listen to something 2 minutes, bro. What do you mean 30 seconds, bro? You're jumping the gun. So go and listen to something like Issues and tell me if Travis, has ever really gone that deep.
So you were mentioning a lot of the stuff about the double entendres and the vocabulary choices. Come on, are we gonna ignore that for Baby Keem's card now? Like, you got to bring those criticisms up for him.
And that's why he's at a 70 and not an 80, bro. The same reason why Tyler's not at an 80. But I do like the fact
Travis lays it down better than Baby Keem does. He definitely does, bro. Come on.
I don't think Travis is a better lyricist than
I
Keem,
definitely,
bro.
but
Not
especially
in
after,
any
like,
way,
well,
shape, or
because,
form, bro.
dude,
Go and listen to the
because
Melodic Blue. If you're gonna tell me "Die for My Bitches" and "Up to Par," okay, I'll give you that. It was one of his early mixtapes. That's like bringing something like a Kendrick Lamar EP into the conversation.
yeah, but
like,
Baby
whatever,
Keem, yeah,
bro.
but Baby Keem even said the same thing. He used that excuse for Tyler, where he said that the lyrics aren't even the main component of his song. Tyler says, "Bro, like fuck my." Sorry, not Tyler. Baby Keem says, "Fuck my lyrics." Like
I think Travis cares about lyrics, bro. The fans don't even care that much about his lyrics, bro. Let's
well,
be
listen,
real.
I would strongly disagree. Just because his most loved song is 90210, but going back to Baby Keem, I think that his flow is one of the best things he has to his arsenal. I gave him an 83 on that. What did you get him at?
I gave him an 80 on the flow. Yeah, I do think that he has a really special flow. Versatility, I gave him an 80, and you gave him an 85. Okay, that's like 5 points higher than mine. Where do you see Keem really being all that versatile?
Okay, unpredictability. I think that that's what he strives at, and the versatility is that he's literally able to attack any sort of production you want to give him. So, example, like listen to a vent, listen to a Trademark USA, listen to an Orange Soda, listen to a Do Rag Activity, listen to a Lost Souls. These are all productions that like shouldn't even be in the same catalog, to be quite honest with you. And what's also cool about Baby Keem is that you never know what flow he's going to choose, and there's always so many different switches and flows and in cadences when he comes down to his tracks. So that's why I think that even the uniqueness of what he's doing is massive. You hear a lot of people trying to take that flow now, so
I think
that's why I had him at an 85.
The beat selection is definitely something that could use a bit more versatility. I like how like multifaceted his beats are, how many beat switches you'll get on something like a Family Ties, but at the same time, I feel like even if you look at his first mixtape, which Cardo Got Wings produced all of it, a lot of those productions were pretty similar, and I feel the same for the Melodic Blue, besides stuff like maybe Issues or Scapegoats, or even Scars. For the most part, it's all within that like experimental and brash trap lane. So I do want to see him branch out a bit more for the production. But for versatility, go to a song like 16, bro. Like that shows you right there that he can make a fucking pop crossover if he wanted to and sing with auto-tune pretty well. If he wants to.
He does.
So I do have to salute him there. But yeah, this is another one where we pretty much have more or less the same thoughts, bro.
It's only at the Travis Scott one where we got a bit heated on
yeah,
this one.
But
listen,
maybe Jid is going to bring...
No. I saw
debates.
your card. You have a good card for this. Actually, we have a very similar card. So, lyricism at an 88, okay, and you have him at an overall 87.
88.
Sorry for your lyricism.
Okay, overall rating I have 87, and you had 86.
Yes, okay, so we're on the same there. But I was saying for your lyricism, you have him at an 88, and I have him at an 88 as well.
Okay, flow. Okay, it's pretty much on par.
Listen, I think he's the flow master.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I still kind of view Jid as a rookie in the game, but to me, he already has one of the best flows of all time, bro. Like, to me, he's already proven in terms of rappers that are rapping right now. He's the Yoda of flowing, bro.
Yeah, it's impossible. You'll never catch him on an off day.
The crevices that he'll find within pockets of the beat, bro. You're left wondering, like, how the fuck is this guy doing it? Like, his rhythmic timing is
incredible.
Unreal.
It's incredible. It's quirky, and not only that, but it's always done with such great speeds, bro. Like, I think that's an underrated part of J.I.D's flow, and, like, that's something not many people talk about, is at what speeds that he raps at. Either if it's, like, let's say a 151, or even, let's say, something like a Never, you'll find him catch those quick pockets, and, like, he's not losing beat whatsoever. So, I agree with you. Listen, I think Lyricism 88 is good. I think really where he does lie is within his entendres and, like, the line setups, and even, let's say, the storytelling on something like a Crack Sandwich, for example. I think that's really cool, and I wanted to go on to his discog because this is where I had some head scratching, okay? Because I didn't know, bro. Because he low-key has a perfect track record when it comes to his discog, even, going back to something like Para 2 that released before all of his mainstream stuff. That's a great mixtape, too. So we have a very similar rating for this. I had him at an 86, and you ended up putting him at
the 85 mark. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Forever Story was the best album to come out last year, and same goes for the Never Story and DiCaprio too. When you're looking at like his studio albums, they're fucking phenomenal. And yes, you have maybe DiCaprio too. That's him maybe more showcasing his skills, but you're still getting great, meaningful tracks out of Jid on that front. And I think that this, alongside something like his lyricism, can definitely get shot up over the years, because I do feel like he has a lot of growing to do in terms of maybe even improving upon the storytelling. I love Crack Sandwich, but I still feel like he needs maybe a couple more of those within his catalog.
He still has some striving to do, but I think that's what's so exciting about J.I.D's career is that he has so much room to grow and expand that, this is just the beginning for him. Like, that's the thing with the Baby Keem and J.I.D card. We're going to look back at these maybe in a couple of years and we'll be like, oh, shit, okay, they may be upgraded.
The one slip-up you had, though, on your JID card is versatility, bro.
I was thinking about it.
Come
Listen,
on,
the reason
bro.
why
would you give him not higher than an 80, bro?
I'll tell you why. It's because J.I.D, like, I feel like he's a fucking laser. Like, that's what I feel like J.I.D does, bro, is that he's really good at what he does, and he hyper-focuses on what he does. But it's like, I haven't heard enough, let's say, R&B or let's say soul tracks from
Get out of here, bro.
I haven't,
you're wrong, and I'll tell you why you're wrong, okay?
Why am I wrong?
Go back to the Never Story, listen to All Bad or Hereditary, and what's impressive about those more R&B singing cuts is the fact that he actually went to master his craft, bro. You listen to those songs off of the Never Story, then you go to something like Cody Blue 31 off of the Forever Story, and you're like, holy shit, like his vocals really upgraded.
Yeah, but those are three performances within 3 albums.
Lessons. Not only that, but look at him as a chameleon and how he could genre hop, bro. Look at the song he did with Imagine Dragons. He's making songs with Dua Lipa. Give him his flowers where they're due. He's fitting on fucking pop track lists and making his sound
work.
Work
him an 80.
And
I think he is
no,
versatile.
bro,
I
that's
gave
a
him
bad
an 8.
rating,
brother.
man.
Yours is 4 over. I don't think me having his versatility in the 80s is a bad take whatsoever.
It is a bad take.
Bro,
it should be higher, bro.
No, but you need
even in terms of production styles,
that's where he strives. His production styles realistically are some of the most unique within hip hop and especially lyrical hip hop right now.
And his flows are not versatile,
yes,
bro. When you were listening to surround sound, you heard I'm an anomaly. Like that
crazy.
whole flow. You weren't blown away?
I was blown away.
And that's
I
the
really
thing,
did
bro.
like
He's giving you at least 5 flow switches per song, and they're always brand new flows.
Yes, they are. But like,
how does that not play into versatility?
It does. I gave him an 80 for it.
It's not high enough.
But bro, you have him at an 84. It's not like you rated it a 90. I'm saying is that we're in the same ballpark, and I do agree that the guy brings a lot to the table when it comes to his sounds. But is it on the same level as some other artists? I don't know. It's up for debate. But guys, let me know in the comments section. How did you feel about this episode? Let me know. Is there any other rappers you would like to see make this series? Guys, thank you so much. And if you're new to NFR, please hit the subscribe button. And hopefully we'll catch you in the next video.